Which NFL team will get the biggest upset this weekend, the NFL wildcard round, the NFL playoffs? Find out next on the Time Report podcast. What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to the show. Appreciate y'all checking this out today. It's NFL wildcard weekend, so we're going to break down every single matchup and talk about my predictions, also my man Sean predictions. So it was nice enough for Sean to come on to the show. It meant a lot to me. It was really fun blast. About 20-minute episode just talking about NFL playoffs. We got some award predictions, MVP predictions. Sean has a case for Drake May, and he's going to explain why. And also Coach of the Year as well for Vrabel. He's a big Patriots fan, so we had him come on and talk about some playoff predictions. But at the end of the show, after the interview, we're going to talk about some Titans coach candidates and some interviews happened this week. So stay tuned after the show. Enjoy the interview and see y'all after the show. And that's right, guys. This week we have a guest here to talk about the NFL playoffs. My man Sean. Sean, what's going on, bro? Welcome to the show, dude.
Thank you for having me, bro. It's an honor to be on here, bro.
And we got some good games this week. You're a Patriots fan, my man. So obviously you have a lot to talk about with the Patriots and Chargers this weekend at home. We're going to kick off with some games, and starting out with Saturday afternoon, we got the Los Angeles Rams versus Carolina Panthers. Sean, the Rams were second in the NFC West this year. Obviously, with Seattle being number one. They lost a tough game to Seattle. They could have been number one NFC. Carolina's coming off a bad loss against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Panthers, though, have been struggling recently. Lost the last two games. They're 8-9 and barely won the NFC South. Sean, who do you got in this game?
Okay, so, I mean, we all know that the Panthers beat the Rams earlier in the season, but, this is the playoffs. We've seen, the Rams with Matthew Stafford. They have been in this situation many times. I got the Rams beating the Panthers by at least 10 points. Minimum.
I think it's hard to beat Sean McVay twice, especially that he's a really well-respected coach around the league. And Chris Shula, who's a favorite for the Titans now. I think that's I think it's hard to beat a team second time around. And I think the Rams got this one. I'm taking 27-13 in this one. But I think a couple things to know is to keep in mind that Bryce Young does play well and does not turn over the ball. So the Panthers have been struggling against tight ends this year, and they're looking to get Kobe Parkinson and Tyler Higbee going. The second game we got on Saturday night is the Packers and Bears. The Packers, Sean, have lost 4 straight in a row. Jordan Love is back, though. Malik Willis did start the last couple of games. They lost badly last week from their backups. The Chicago Bears, though, with Caleb Williams, has had a nice season this year. Packers are favored by 1.5.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Packers only because the Bears are still pretty inexperienced. They're very young. And they're still maybe a year or two away from actually making a deep playoff run. If this is not just a one and done, just a one season wonder. But I got the Packers winning a pretty close game.
Okay.
As long as what the predictions are.
I'm actually gonna take Chicago here. I have faith in Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams to get this job
done,
though. I think this is the third time they're playing each other this season. And this could decide Matt LaFleur's fate. If he loses, the Packers could let him go. So I think it'll be a close game, though. Like you said, I have the Bears winning by 2 points, 23-21.
Okay.
Be a close game. So to start out the Sunday games, we have the Buffalo Bills and Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jags are getting hot at a good time, though, especially under first-year head coach Liam Cohen. I saw him last week, and, man, that team looked absolutely dominant. We don't want to talk about that game. But Buffalo Bills, who surprisingly this year, even though they're still 12-5, have looked a little bit weak under Sean McDermott. The Bills are favored by 1.5. Who you got and why?
This is a little bit more difficult in my opinion because the Jaguars have looked great, right? I mean, that's something that last week they've proven that with an absolute demolition of a game. But this is one of the other things where we got to sort of look at experience versus non-experience because the Bills have been here multiple times. But when you look at the Bills' recent playoffs, it's like they've not been able to perform in big games. So, they haven't been able to cross that line. They haven't been able to beat the Chiefs. I mean, there's been some controversy, of course, which has prevented them from beating the Chiefs. But with that, You know, the Bills have a lot of experience, but I don't think that's going to matter. They haven't been really looking good. Josh Allen doesn't have a lot of help. I'm taking the Jaguars.
I agree with you. I'm taking the Jaguars in this one, especially because the Jaguars have one of the best run defenses in the league this year. And I think if James Cook can't get going, and that defensive line is good for Jacksonville. And I think if they get pressure to Josh Allen, it's going to be a rough day for Buffalo on the road. So we got the San Francisco 49ers and Philadelphia Eagles. Again, another tough one because the Eagles have been kind of inconsistent as of late. Jalen Hurts, though, is still, I think, after they won last year, these guys coming in this year are the favorites. And they lost a lot of close games. They did lose to Chicago later in the year. The 49ers have actually emerged recently. Robert Saleh, the defensive coordinator, with the 49ers injuries, they've really hang on, even though they lost to Seattle last weekend. The Philadelphia Eagles are favored 4.5 at home, and especially the duo of two running backs, Christian McCaffrey and Saquon Barkley, both 1,000-yard rushers this year. Who do you got and why?
So, at the beginning of the season, the Eagles looked pretty good. And then they fell off, and then they never sort of recovered to get to that early season form. But in the 49ers, yes, they're getting hot this year. I'm pretty sure they get hot at a good time. So with that, I'm going to take the 49ers to win.
Ooh, okay. Are you taking that money line with San Francisco, or what's your final score prediction? Because it's 4.5.
Final score, yeah, it is 4.5 Philly, but I would say it's going to be a close game. I would say the score would probably be within 5 points or so. So like we could see like a I don't know, but I just feel like it's going to be a close game coming down to the last few drives. 49ers are going to pull out on top and come out with a win.
Yeah, I'm actually going to take Philly. I'm not going to take the 4.5. I got 27-19 Philly. I just think that Saquon Barkley and the offensive line is still dominant against San Francisco, which is one of the not great pass rushing in the league just because they lost Nick Bosa. And Fred Warner is still not back yet. He could be back if they make the conference championship, but I still trust the Eagles. I still trust Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown. Unless if Jalen Hurts does struggle in this game, then I think San Francisco will win. But if Jalen Hurts does take care of the football and he does his job, I think Philly will win. So we got a good one, and this is your team, and you have a lot to talk about. The Los Angeles Chargers and New England Patriots. The Patriots were not in this thing last year. They turned this thing around in a heartbeat, and that was one of the coolest stories in the league this year. Drake May with an unbelievable almost 4,400 yards this year, 31 touchdowns. But your running game, Sean, has actually gotten better than last year. Henderson and Ramondre Stevenson, which was a struggle early on in the year, and you guys finally got going. The biggest question here is if Justin Herbert is going to be healthy enough to play. Who do you got? The Patriots are favored by 3.5 at home, and why?
I'm taking the Patriots all day. I mean, that should be obvious. I mean, Drake May, you got the most consistent quarterback in the league, who's shown up every single day. And then with the Bills, that was probably his worst game of the season, and he wasn't terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought he was having an insane game, like 300 yards passing, but I think he got shut down in the second half. But he still wasn't like terrible. And Justin Herbert, they've been here before, but they haven't gone deep.
Yeah, they lost last year early on.
Yeah, and Patriots, we have Vrabel, who's done a great job with them. And we have Josh McDaniels. Sorry. We have Josh McDaniels, who's been with the Patriots for a long time. Coach Brady. So he's won many Super Bowls. He knows what it's going to be like. So I know he can definitely help Drake May out if there's any nerves, but I doubt there will be. Drake May's a professional.
Yeah.
I got the Patriots winning with this final score 38-21.
Yeah, I'm taking the Patriots here too. Again, you guys have actually had a really good offseason. You guys had the most money in the NFL last offseason. You guys spent it right. That's the biggest thing is how do you spend your money? And you guys got pieces that you guys needed. You didn't overspend for a lot of players. And your defense has been pretty solid. There's a couple of questionables with Harold Landry and Robert Spillane, but both of those guys look good to go. We'll see. But I think the biggest thing is the health factor for Justin Herbert. He's not really been healthy. And Chargers eventually came off the last 2 losses against the Texans, who've been hot, and against Denver, who is also one of the top teams in the league, or number 1 in the bye week this week. It is going to be tough for the Chargers to get anything going, I think. And they've had some struggles in New England. Foxborough is a tough place to play on the road, and even though they destroyed Miami and Mike McDaniel last week, I think this will be a good win for the Chargers. It's disappointing for one of the Harbaugh brothers, Jim Harbaugh, who did not make it far last year in the playoffs. So I think this one, a lot of people are not saying this is the game of the week, but I think this one will actually be very interesting just because a coach is on the line here. The Houston Texans on the road facing the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Texans are one of the most teams in the league. They've been hot. They're one of the hottest teams in the NFL right now. Since they beat the Titans, they won like 9 straight. They haven't taken any foot off the gas. DeMeco Ryan's a really smart head coach. CJ Stroud's playing really better as of late. He's been protecting the football as well. And Aaron Rodgers actually been pretty well solid as well. This came down to the final play on Sunday Night Football to send the Pittsburgh Steelers to the playoffs. And the Pittsburgh Steelers lose. This could be another head coach who could be in question with Tomlin. Who do you got and why?
I got the Texans because, when you look at the Steelers, they have a lot of experience, but, they got pretty lucky last Sunday night, that incredible game. They got lucky that the Baltimore kicker missed the field goal.
Yeah.
Which I thought he was going to drain it.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
They have Aaron Rodgers, who's won the Super Bowl. He's won the MVP. But when you look at the Texans, ever since that game against you guys, they've just turned the switch and they've become like this dominant team. So give me Houston.
Yeah, I agree. Are you taking the money line 2.5, or are you going to go a little more with the Texans?
I'll probably go a little more.
And I honestly think I'm taking the Texans here too. And the reasons is CJ Stroud takes care of the football. Woody Marks from the Trojans are going to be back and he's healthy. He's good to go. That's what Houston's missing is their running game all year long. But Marks has been better as of late. You're getting Collins back. But the story here is the Houston defense. Houston's defense is obviously still top in the NFL. Danielle Hunter is on that side, and you got Will Anderson who's on your right. So both of those guys can put some pressure on the tackles, and one of them Steelers tackles is questionable for Sunday. So if he can't go, you're going to have a backup left tackle against Hunter, which is one of the best D tackles in the NFL, defensive ends, with 15 sacks this year. So I got the Texans here. I'm actually going to think it's a close game. I'm taking it by 7 points, 24-17. We want to talk about some headlines right now with some head coaches who got potentially fired today. Mike McDaniel, Sean, was one of the guys who got fired from Miami after having a disappointing season. And he could be the next Titans offensive coordinator going forward. Disappointing in Miami, man. Tua could definitely get cut.
Yeah, I see he probably could, and then he should honestly just call it. You look at his history with concussions. It's like it's gone through Alabama, which he was really, really good. It was pretty fun to watch him play in Alabama. But then that just transferred over to NFL, and then he kept getting concussion, and after his last concussion, everyone thought that he was just going to call it, and that would have been the right choice. But he continued to play. But I feel like, and you can clearly see the effect it's having on him. I think it's just for the best of his health. He's made a lot of money in here, so it's not like he really needs to be in the NFL. He can call it right now, and he'll be fine.
Yeah. You want to talk about we're going to talk about some MVP awards and go Coach of the Year, because New England Patriots could have 2 of those coming up this season. We'll start at MVP. Drake May's favorite, and why? Why do you think Drake May's going to be the favorite for MVP this year?
Well, I feel like it's easy. When you look at Drake May, when you look at his season, the first thing you're going to see is how consistent he was. And that shows with the passer rating. He has number 1 passer rating in the NFL. Mm-hmm. His number 1 completion percentage. Like every single year, except for the game against the Bills, he's over 200 yards. And he has, and then unlike Stafford, he has 400 rushing yards, so he can move. Yeah. He's very mobile. And then we look at his receiver cast. We have a washed-up version of Stephon Diggs. Yes, I know he got 1,000 yards, but that's because of Drake May. That's because he's that good. Would Stafford have helped Diggs get 1,000 yards. So it would have been a lot easier if with Drake May. Like, and when you look at the Rams, they got Puka Nacua, who is probably one of the best receivers in the league right now, if not the best receiver in the league.
The best.
Then you got Devontae Adams, another really good receiver. And then when you look at what Stafford's getting all those touchdowns from, and it's goal line touchdowns, where usually with the Patriots we just run it in,
right?
And it's a lot easier and then the fact that Stafford didn't only have 400 more passing yards. What is it? 400?
Yeah. So May had, if I have to look back at it one more time,
when you look at Stafford, look at his receiving cast. I mean, that it makes it so much easier for him to actually just throw the ball to them and they'll catch it. Whereas Drake May doesn't have those receivers. He has Tyshon Boutte, he has Matt Collins, Hunter Henry, Demario Douglas, who they are all good, but they are not on the level of Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams. So that's why.
Adams,
and the fact that Drake May stayed in the 14-3 kind of seals it. I mean, it just should be no argument. Drake May is going to win MVP.
I think if you guys definitely if you guys win this weekend, I think Drake May will be locked for MVP. Coach of the year, Mike Vrabel could be one of the biggest favorites. I think Mike Vrabel has been a guy who's been turned this Patriots team around, and I still talk about it to this day. I'm disappointed that the Titans let go of Vrabel. Vrabel Coach of the Year, yes, no, maybe, and why?
Yeah, because I say yes because when you look at Coach of the Year, it's the same thing with MVP, but it's like all impact. Like how did they really turn around a team? And look at last year, we were really bad. We were not good.
Yeah.
And then this year, brought in Vrabel, turned it around like this. We now become an instant contender to win the Super Bowl. And a lot of Patriots fans, and a lot of NFL team, a lot of the NFL world, I don't think we were expecting this to be this dominant, especially at the beginning of the season when we started off 1-2.
Yeah,
I was like, this might be another pretty bad season where we just try to get a decent draft pick. But no, we went on that insane win streak, and then that turned us into a contender, and probably solidified Mike Vrabel as the Coach of the Year.
Yeah. So one question, since this is a Titans show, is if you have to pick one head coach to be the next Titans coach, who would that be?
Harbaugh.
Yeah, I agree.
Either Harbaugh. He's developed Lamar Jackson really well. Like he became MVP. And just imagine with the stuff that he can do with Cam Ward, just elevating him. But, I mean, that's only one part. They need to sort of surround Cam Ward with support. Get with some more receivers and tight ends, help with the blocking. Pollard decided, I mean, he played decently well towards the end of the season.
Yeah.
But I think they need some more receivers. And I think that would help Cam Ward a lot.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing that they're looking to build that rookie quarterback, especially that we've had bad experience in the past, Mariota, Levis, and it can go on and on for hours about how we've developed really bad quarterbacks in the past. But, dude, I appreciate you, and we'll see how these games go this weekend. I'm excited to see what your Patriots do, man.
Yeah, of course.
Any last thoughts for the Patriots? You think they're going to go on the Super Bowl run this year?
Of course, I got to say that I believe them to go all the way. I believe them to go the distance in the Super Bowl. And we'll start a new dynasty, hopefully.
New dynasty with Tom Brady 2.0. Thanks, Sean, for coming on. Appreciate you, brother.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
All right, so we got some head coach candidates. We got to talk about who already had some interviews, who are still scheduled to have some interviews, and some guys we got confirmed this morning and some requests. Appreciate again, Sean, for coming on the show. It was a very fun blast talking about NFL playoffs and to get his insight on Drake May for winning MVP. All right, let's talk about some 4 out of the 5 candidates were actually on Zoom. We had Mike McCoy, who spoke in person. They had Vance Joseph, Lou Anarumo, Steve Spagnuolo, Matt Nagy, who were all on Zoom. And then we also had yesterday Jason Garrett, former Giants offensive coordinator and former Cowboys head coach, who is now on NBC Analysis, who interviewed, which is one of the weirdest head coaching cycle guys I've ever seen in a long time. They just picked up anybody who got an interview Friday in person. And then Kevin Stefanski is getting an interview today. Raheem Morris, Jeff Hafley, Robert Saleh, and Art Smith are all confirmed. And then we found out last night, former Packers Cowboys head coach Mike McCarthy is getting interviewed next Saturday. So it'll be a little bit of a gap there. We'll see if Shula and Jesse Minter, who both got requests today from the Tennessee Titans, both are expected to interview. We'll see when those gates and times get confirmed by both of those candidates. Shula, who I mentioned, is a favorite to become, I think, my favorite to become next Titans head coach, along with John Harbaugh. John Harbaugh just came out of nowhere, just got fired. And I kind of mentioned it a couple weeks ago. If Harbaugh does lose in the Ravens, does he get fired? And yes, that's what happened. So we have 3 potential head coaches who could potentially get let go as soon as Monday or Tuesday after their games if they do lose. Matt LaFleur from the Green Bay Packers is one guy to keep in mind of who seriously could get let go. Sean McDermott is another name, and also Mike Tomlin. So those are 3 names. Do I expect all 3 names to get let go at once? No. Could it happen? Maybe. This has been the wildest NFL head coaching cycle I've seen in a long time, just because there's been so many names, been firings, and so many shocks. And I seriously think one of these guys could get let go. If I have to pick a favorite, it'll probably be Matt LaFleur, but I wouldn't rule out all 3 of these guys getting let go as soon as Monday, Tuesday, maybe later on in the week, especially with John Harbaugh being out there. I mean, that's the team. One of those teams who could be in contention could actually get in the John Harbaugh sweepstakes. So next episode, we're going to kind of preview my top 10, well, currently top 8 right now, NFL head coaches who could be on different teams. We'll talk about that. And who are the favorites? We're going to talk about the whole list. We're going to break down every single candidate and, every single team and maybe a GM spot if those don't get taken up. Dolphins just hired a GM today from the Green Bay Packers. So we're going to talk about that all next episode. We're going to catch up and also talk about some hockey next episode as we do that as well. So see y'all on the next episode. Appreciate y'all tuning in Titan for podcast. Stay tuned to Instagram, X, and TikTok for any news that drops. Peace.